There are a lot of arguments in favor of artificial intelligence. You can really make a great case. And of course, my perspective, for those who have listened to me before talk about artificial intelligence, you know that my perspective is it doesn't matter how many positive uses you can find for artificial intelligence, the negatives will outweigh them because the negatives are that this is an existential threat to the human race. This is an existential threat to life on this planet. And that's not hyperbole, that is reality. And I'm not talking about just from a Skynet, Terminator perspective. There are a lot of reasons for us to be concerned about artificial intelligence and for us to essentially hit the brakes permanently. Okay? I mean, seriously, just I know it's not going to happen. It's wishful thinking to believe that artificial intelligence isn't going to emerge, that it's not going to become transcending in this planet. There have been many movies talking about it. We are at that stage in human existence where the science fiction is going to become reality very, very, very soon. One of those positive things, and I noted this in last week's show, I think it was Friday, I'd referenced an article. I didn't talk much about it, but I'd referenced an article that I'd seen about how artificial intelligence is being discussed to replace news anchors. And I said, that's one of those examples where, yeah, I mean, I could see if I wasn't a skeptic, if I wasn't a conspiracy theorist, if I was blinded by the allure of artificial intelligence, I would say, you know what, that kind of makes sense. You could have opinion people and show hosts that are asking questions and offering their perspectives and commentary and all that stuff. But when it comes to news, technically speaking, one would think that you could actually improve on news reporting by letting artificial intelligence just simply take the facts and regurgitate them in an easily digestible format for humans. Using artificial intelligence to write articles, for example. That is another one where you could say, technically speaking, as long as you're transparent about it, as long as you're not pretending like Sports Illustrated was pretending that they were making up fake names for these AI bot people, they're actually pretending like they were actual reporters that were reporting on these things, despite the fact that they were not. They were completely artificially generated, but whatever. Yeah, as long as you're transparent about it, I don't see anything wrong with that. Again, I have to be crystal clear. Everything is a slippery slope when it comes to artificial intelligence. It really is. I mean, anything that you start to, oh, that's not so bad. Maybe I could just do this. Everything is a risk when it comes to AI. And if I thought that we could somehow stop it, then stop it from emerging, stop people from researching it, stop Google and China and everybody else from doing their thing, Chat GPT, Microsoft, everybody's getting involved. And once we attach artificial general intelligence, which is either coming soon or it's already here and we don't know about it, once we combine that with digital access, internet access, and then on top of that, put a quantum computer behind it, it's game over, essentially. We will then literally have our artificial intelligence computer overlords. And who knows, smarter people than me have made the connection between artificial intelligence and end times prophecies, but that's for another day. We'll discuss that some other time. For now, I want to talk about this one specifically about Los Angeles-based TV channel that is set to launch AI news anchors in 2024. So if you're watching this, it's middle of December now, right? And if you're watching this in January, then you're already there. It's already happening. This is by Laura Harris over at Natural News. A television channel based in Los Angeles is set to launch news anchors generated by artificial intelligence in February of 2024. AI based or LA based, it's all becoming AI. The Los Angeles based Channel 1 will be debuting these digital humans, a mix of digitally created avatars and quote unquote digital doubles created by the channel by next year, the Daily Mail reported. These digital news anchors will be reporting news updates on global events. They will also be featured in free streaming TV platforms. Adam Mosam, Channel 1's founder, said news reports will come from trusted official sources like public records and government documents in partnership with undisclosed legacy news outlets, commissioned freelance journalists, and AI-generated news reports. The digital news anchors will then report the news on air. Mosam added that Channel 1 seeks to provide viewers with a personalized news experience similar to the popular social media app TikTok. Oh, yeah. Throw AI in with TikTok. Let's just, surrender now, folks. Okay, we're going to be speaking Mandarin at any point. The app is designed to adapt to users' preferences over time, learning their habits and interests, whether it's financial news, sports, or other topics. Channel 1 will also use digital double anchors to replace the voice and mouth movements of people in news stories with an English translation. Holy cow. Deep fake translators. Awesome. This, in turn, will transform local news stories into an accessible format for international audiences. If we can generate, and this is a quote from Mosam, if we can generate 500 stories and choose the right line, 9 or 10 for you, then we're going to do a better job of informing you and showing you what you're looking for in your allotted time. Now, there are some very clear risks with this, but the biggest one, according to Laura over at Natural News, is the risk of fake news. As she puts it, media professionals and critics expressed fear over the development, voicing out potential consequences that could befall the dying news industry. And here's a quote from Kristen Ruby, CEO of the public relations firm Ruby Media Group. She says, if you believe in the concept of fake news, you have seen nothing. At least your news is presented by humans. When AI news anchors replace human news anchors, the concept of fake news will have a totally different meaning. BC Today reporter Alec Lazenby denounced the utterly terrifying idea of having AI news anchors. While the development of an entirely AI-powered broadcast is beyond impressive, it could have huge ramifications for an already depleted news industry and accelerate the loss of high-quality reporters and anchors. Like I said, there's some positives to this stuff. No, I'm just teasing. Look, local news, national news, corporate news, news in general. Okay, anything that's dying is a result of their poor judgment, and this is not a solution for it. Artificial intelligence is not the right solution, not just because of the fake news risk, but because it puts in the biggest risk, in my humble opinion, which is to subtly propagandize us, to subtly gaslight us. Now, if you think that it's bad enough and it's already happening, you're right. If you think that it's as bad as it can get, you're not even close. Artificial intelligence will learn and it'll be shown by humans how to start manipulating us in ways that we have no idea. We don't see it. We can't hear it. It's just there. It's pounding on our minds. I won't be watching it. That's for sure. Not because I'm concerned that, oh, they're going to indoctrinate me to suddenly, drink oat milk instead of regular milk. No, I'm not concerned about that. It's because there are going to be ways that they're going to get into our heads. Period. Okay? Through the visuals, through the audio, through a combination of the two. It won't just be simple, false reporting. It'll be sneaking in other aspects through technology, right? Stuff. We're talking about DARPA level stuff that's going to be utilized. I guarantee you, they're already working on it. They're already doing it, probably. Okay. This just enhances the ability for that to happen. I forgot the name of this movie. There's a movie from the 80s. And no, not They Live. There's a different movie from the 80s. Oh, Scanners, or no, it wasn't Scanners, obviously. I forgot the name. Um, Gosh, it's old movie. Anyway, I'll try to find it during the break and we'll see if we can highlight that. But it was terrifying because it did talk about the ability to manipulate people, and oddly enough, presciently enough, through basically taking deep fakes. They would take the actors or the news anchors, and they would be able to scan them and then generate them artificially so that they can be made to say whatever they want. The whole idea behind deepfake technology combining with artificial intelligence, which people like to say AI deepfakes, it's one driving the other. It's not the other way around. They're not. It's not one and the same. In other words, artificial intelligence has unlimited applications. One of those applications is to be able to generate deepfake videos, right, and audio simultaneously. This is a huge risk. But then once you combine the actual, that's with us humans giving an input to this tool that can create deepfake. But once you have artificial intelligence actually driving the deepfake messaging, actually putting the words, but also the sounds, the enunciations, the subliminals, that's where it gets really just truly terrifying. I'm already convinced that a large part, I don't know if it's a majority, it probably is, it could be a vast majority, But a large part of our population, especially in Western society, and very particularly here in the United States, is already brainwashed beyond redemption, brainwashed to the point that they can't, in different degrees of brainwashing, by the way, but either they're brainwashed to where they have anger when they don't need anger. They're brainwashed to the point to where even when faced with unambiguous truth, they refuse to see it. They're incapable of seeing it. We know this because we've seen, and the easiest example, of course, is to look at the unhinged left. We already see that you can give them facts, you can give them logic, you can give them the truest truths out there, and it doesn't make a dent. That's not somebody who's acting. That's not somebody who's like, oh, well, I do know what a woman is, but I'm going to pretend like I don't. No, they legitimately, many of them have been reprogrammed to the point to where they truly can't. I mean, it's like they can't fathom the idea that we think that a woman is actually a biological female human. They're like, what? These simpletons, why do they think that? It's nuanced, it's complex. We have to take into account the feelings and the emotions and the true identity because nobody else can know what's inside that person. I mean, it's just like it's infuriating. Now, here's the thing. Take all of this brainwashing, all this indoctrination, and increase it exponentially. Make it tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold, a millionfold. That's where we start getting into what the possibilities are for indoctrination, for brainwashing, utilizing artificial intelligence that is driving artificially intelligence generated news reports, education. It starts here. What's next? Education? You'd think maybe, well, AI can teach better than teachers. That is the next step, folks. Or maybe not the next step. Maybe we're 2 or 3 steps away, depending upon what happens politically speaking. Currently, we have as our artificial intelligence czar Kamala Harris, and that's so she's not thinking that far ahead. She's not thinking about tomorrow. She's not thinking about the next 10 minutes. She might not be thinking at all, for all we know. Maybe she's already been completely, fully indoctrinated. She's been AI zapped, and now she has no idea. She could probably pass the bar exam finally. But anyway, I digress. There was probably the best, I would say this is the best explanation of the danger of AI delivered by a politician. I've seen some really smart people talking about artificial intelligence in ways that can terrify you. Of course, I've also gone out and you've heard my many rants about artificial intelligence, but here's Vivek Ramaswamy. And this was unique. Again, when I hear politicians talking about AI, it's generally pretty dumb. I mean, no offense to, you guys are trying. Some of you are, most of you aren't, but some of you are really trying to get this stuff. You're not getting it. You're not seeing the true risk. Vivek Ramaswamy seems to be at least understanding mostly the risk of it. And he is a pretty smart guy. So let's and no, I'm not endorsing him. I don't endorse Vivek Ramaswamy, but I do like his opinions on artificial intelligence. Let's play that.
I'll tell you a funny story about AI. We'll take it outside of politics. Now, this is not for you. Oh, that's my mistake. All right, maybe the ice cream. What do you say? Should we give him a bite?
He didn't want. I did. He wants more.
Nice. So we'll take it outside of politics, then I'll bring it back in to see what's going on with AI. Anybody here a tennis fan? Yeah. I like to watch tennis. So my first job was actually as a ball boy at this tennis tournament in Cincinnati. And then I got a promotion to being a line judge when I was in early high school, like 9th grade or so. So as a human line judge, you make the line calls. It's not done that way anymore. It's all done by AI. They predict where the balls are going to land. So back when I used to be a line judge, the funny thing is, it was all the rage where players used to argue with the line judges over the call, John McEnroe and everything else. Something funny happened. When the AI started making the call, the first generation of the AI, it was so bad that you could literally see it with your eye, that it was like a bad call. But the funny thing is that the players stopped arguing with the calls. So why do I bring that up? The biggest danger of AI is actually the human response to it. And I don't mean to get too philosophical, but I think it's actually important. You asked a deep question, I want to give you a proper answer. I'll give you the simple AI policy, I'll give you the superficial piece, but I want to come back to the more important part. Superficial piece is hard boundary between AI and kids, just like we talked about for the transgenderism. draw a hard line at least. AI-powered algorithms should not be regularly interfacing broadly with kids. I think that we should not ban anything that China is also not willing to ban. But the right way to deal with it is don't ban anything. Put the liability on companies. Right? So we should tell the companies you're going to be liable. You're going to be liable for any unforeseen consequences of a protocol that you develop. That then at least makes them take the risks into account on the front end, which they're not doing today. So that's the right answer as a matter of policy. But I want to go back to the deeper point about the tennis players not arguing about the calls. Go to ChatGPT today, or some equivalent, and ask, how do you address climate change? Or how do you address racial injustice, or whatever? It'll give you an answer as though it's a political opinion, but it reads with the authority of somebody who's converting degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. That's the real danger. And so I think that, yes, I'll give you the AI policy, but at a philosophical level, the best answer to the risks posed by AI is actually the revival of faith in this country. Faith and patriotism and a belief in something bigger than ourselves. Because here's what's really going on. Whether it's AI or wokeism or transgenderism or climatism or COVIDism or depression, anxiety, fentanyl, suicide. It's not an accident that we see the rise of these same poisons at the same time. They're symptoms of a deeper void of purpose and meaning in our country. And I think we got to fill that vacuum with the real thing. There's an old expression, if there's a hole the size of God in your heart and God does not fill it, something else will instead. The same can be said of belief in a country. So that's what's going on in the country right now is we are lost, we're hungry for purpose, and that belief in something bigger than ourselves is actually going to be the best protection against bending the knee to whatever the new false idol is. AI perhaps being the latest one.
Like I've said many times, I like Vivek Ramaswamy. I don't necessarily trust Vivek Ramaswamy, his connections with the World Economic Forum. I know he's tried to debunk them. I also know that it's one of those things where once you're in, it's kind of hard to get out. I also don't trust his past perspectives. I'm one of those guys. Look, I forgive people. Okay, when it comes to getting things wrong politically speaking, when you got people like Glenn Beck, who was he swore he would never, ever, 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 ever support Donald Trump, and then he did, so I don't hold it against him that he was wrong. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, and I also know because here's the thing: if you're like, oh, you got to be ideologically pure your entire life, why would you support Donald Trump then? I mean, this is a guy that was in favor of partial birth abortion. This is a guy that was in favor of assault weapons bans. This is a guy who figured it out later in life that he needed to allow his perspectives to evolve. So bottom line, when it comes to Vivek Ramaswamy, it's not that I don't think that he could have evolved. I'm just not sure if he did. Okay. I think that a lot of his shtick is very geared towards being impressive and being MAGA. And he sees that as a pathway through which he'll be able to achieve his life goals, whether it really is that he wants to be president of the United States or if he wants to be in the cabinet, or what I think is the most likely is that he plans on parlaying this into a very important and powerful media career of some sort. Okay, after the primaries, after he's out, if he doesn't get a cabinet position, and again, I don't even know if he wants one, but whatever it is, you can say what you want about his desires, his dreams, his ambitions. But you definitely have to acknowledge the dude's smart. He's wicked smart, and he knows what he's talking about here in the case of artificial intelligence. Now, I would draw the line, obviously, if I were running for president, I would draw the line at not just, regulate it for kids, and I would try to put an end to it altogether. Again, we're talking about an existential threat, in my humble opinion. So no, it's not like, well, we need better regulations. We need to make sure that the companies that develop it, they're held accountable. Okay, well, you all can sue this company because they developed the artificial intelligence that now rules over the planet. Like, yay! No, I take a bit more of a bullish approach to wanting to put an end to the advancement of artificial intelligence. But then again, maybe I'm in the minority. Be sure to catch me on all of my various channels. You can catch the live shows, see these clips like the one you just saw over at jdrucker.com/shows. That's jdrucker.com/shows.